What's going on, guys? PepperBelly here, and I'm going to be talking about Aliens Colonial Marines today. As many of you guys probably know, there was a lot of hatred for this game within the last couple of days since its release, and I mean, like, there was an overabundance of hatred for this game. It was actually ridiculous. Reviewers pretty much shot the game right into the ground, so deep down that it reached the depths of hell. Satan received it and sent it right back up because he realized how shitty the game was. So what I'm pretty much going to be talking about today is whether or not the game actually deserves the huge amounts of hatred and criticism it has received. And this is going to be my personal opinions for those of you that are going to be like, oh my god, I disagree, you are wrong. Well, it's my fucking opinion, so put up with it, because I mean, like, that was a little bit rude, but you know what I mean. Like, I get so annoyed when people do that, like when they criticize you for an opinion. It's like, my opinion, take it with a grain of salt, or take it, pretty much just take it for what it is. It's my opinion. I played through the game, I completed it, and I'm going to tell you whether or not I actually enjoyed it, whether or not that it actually is that bad. So, I'll start off with pretty much the background. Now, I haven't actually watched, now this is coming from a guy who isn't obsessed with aliens. Now, I haven't actually watched the Aliens movies. I haven't sat down and, like, you know, observed. This game pretty much made me want to watch them, but I never have. I never actually sat down and watched Aliens 1, 2, or 3 all the way through. I never sat down. I've seen glimpses of scenes and stuff like that. I've seen a few of the Aliens vs. Predator movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, get to the chopper, you know, that kind of shit. And I've pretty much seen just glimpses of it, so I've never actually really got into the whole Aliens movie. Now, I appreciate and I adore the lore and the story and the idea behind Aliens. I haven't actually sat down and thoroughly been in love with the series. So this is coming from someone who doesn't really care much. I mean, I enjoy it. I like the idea behind it, but I don't actually really invest a lot of time and energy into the Alien series. People have been saying that Aliens Colonial Marines is going to be really appreciated by those that adore the Aliens franchise. I didn't adore the Aliens franchise. I never actually went out of my way to see the movies and to obtain visual stimulation from the Aliens franchise. So for me, I still enjoyed the game regardless, and I'm pretty much going to get into it right now. The major complaints that came from Aliens Colonial Marines was just the way the gameplay mechanics worked, and most definitely the graphics. People just seem to have really taken the graphics like it's the major worst, like, it looks like PS2 graphics. Well, firstly, fuck you, no it doesn't. It doesn't look that bad. There are some areas that actually look pretty damn good. There are some areas that are very appealing, that are just nice to look at. Then, of course, if you really look for it, there are some pretty bad textures and some really horrible triangular shaped polygons and shit that are just like, okay, no, this is clearly just not good. Not even for, like, and of course the game has been in development for such a long time that I'm pretty sure they've had the engine, they were using the engine from way back in 2006 or whenever the hell they started making this game. The point is, though, it will not deter you from being immersed into the game. If you let it, if you walk around and look at, if you're personally, like, just trying to find problems with the game, of course you're going to not have fun with it and you're going to be completely annoyed with the game. You're going to be sitting there looking for issues. If you do that in any game, if you look for issues in any game, you're going to not have enjoyment out of it because you're purposely looking for problems with it. If you play the game for what it has to offer, for what it is, you're going to enjoy it a hell of a lot more. I got immersed into this game. It wasn't the greatest thing ever. The animations weren't that great. I mean, one thing I can definitely talk about was the cutscenes. The cutscenes were horrendous. They were laughable at some points. The voice acting wasn't too bad. There was actually some voice acting that was really good. There were actually some pretty decent voice actors that were using it. I'm pretty sure Admiral Hackett from Mass Effect was actually used as, I think his name is Bishop or something, and one of the characters, it sounds so similar, I could be wrong, but that's how it sounds. And the voice acting is actually not that bad, but when you put it together with the cutscenes and you see how, like, shitty the animations are on their faces and stuff, then yes, you're kind of like, what the hell, this looks absolutely terrible, and it really takes away from, like, enjoying the cutscenes. And some of the moments in the game that are supposed to be, like, super epic scenery moments, like spaceship flying in and leveling half of, like, a city or something, like, that doesn't actually happen, but I'm giving you an idea. It looks laughable, it looks completely ridiculous, and that it's not actually like well done, and like a lot of the moments that are supposed to be like, holy shit, that just happened, just don't look that good. Those are the only real gripes I have with the game, is that. I mean, the cutscenes look worse than the game, so don't worry about it. If you're going to be looking at the cutscenes, you're like, oh my god, this is how it's going to look, it's going to be horrible. It's not going to be that bad. It's going to be kind of like Doom 3 style, where cutscenes look a little bit shittier than the actual gameplay, and when you're playing the game, it looks reasonably better, so you're not going to have those issues whatsoever in terms of actual, like, play fidelity when you're going around the level, traversing terrain, killing aliens by shooting them in the face. The game really isn't that bad. Now, I actually had fun with it. I actually enjoyed the campaign. I took it for what it was, and I got immersed into it, and I had fun with it. It wasn't anything that was like blowing my mind. It's nothing innovative. It's nothing like, totally out of this world, this is the best game ever. I can understand why people hate it, and it's because they promised so much and delivered so little. I can understand that. I didn't really know what to expect from this game. I kind of just went in there going like, it's an Aliens game. I actually enjoyed AVP from 2010. Maybe this won't be too bad. And it really wasn't. It's not that bad. I still had fun playing it, and that's really what is the most important part of video games, is having enjoyment out of it. If you're playing a game and just raging and not having any fun whatsoever, then you're clearly wasting your time, and you're probably shortening your lifespan by a few years by doing damage to your heart from raging so much and getting so angry. So stop playing games that make you not have fun and play the games that do. And I actually had fun with this game, and this is coming from someone who's not obsessed with Aliens. I didn't actually get all the Easter eggs and all the loop backs to the actual movies and stuff like that, like all the tie-ins. I never actually got any of it, but I still had fun with it. I can imagine those that were obsessed with Aliens and knew everything so well, that played the game, or sitting there going, holy shit, this connects like this is so cool, and like all the story just fits so nicely. I didn't experience any of that, I didn't know any of that, and I still enjoyed the game. So for those that are probably obsessed with Aliens, are probably going to get more enjoyment out of it than I have. So it's really not a horrible game. The gameplay isn't the worst in the world. It's not like you're going to be playing it and you're going to be like, well man, I can't even shoot things because it's just so horrendous, I can't move my character around or whatever. I didn't have a problem with it. I actually enjoyed it. I liked the idea that I would walk around everywhere with my flashlight on, literally like looking in every corner like you would in real life. I pretty much play the game very tactically the way I would in a real life situation, and it made it a lot more pleasurable. There's even certain levels that were just completely awesome, like this one time when you're in a sewer. Spoiler alert for those of you guys that don't want to see it, completely blank it out. But yeah, basically it's actually like you're in a sewer and you have to like crawl around, and by crawl around I mean to walk around, and there's these husks, like they're husks of aliens, and they come back to life occasionally, and some of them are still alive, and they can't see you, they're blind, right? And the only way they can actually find you is if you make noise. And it's really cool because you're walking around, you're freaked the hell out because you don't know which ones are like alive and which ones are dead, because some of them are standing right up, but they're actually still, they're husks and they're frozen, they're dead. Some of them are actually moving around, they fucking walk up behind you and shit, and I thought it was really well done. I thought that was really cool. And seeing the Queen was pretty impressive as well. There was a lot of moments that were actually really good in that game, and they don't necessarily completely outweigh the bad, but they do. It's like the good definitely outweighs the bad in some way, some degree. It's nothing like, it's not a horrible game. That's the only way I can describe it. People have been saying it's the worst game of the year. It's not. I've played far shittier games than this. This game is not that bad. I have played some of the online. The online is not the best, because I didn't invest a lot of time in the online, but I played enough that I was like, this is definitely not as good as Alien vs. Predator from 2010. That's my opinion. Once again, I think they can fix some of it by just making the alien movement a lot more fluid, and for fuck's sakes, make it first person. I don't care about looking at my alien's body and going, oh well, I can customize him, he looks really cool. Like, I don't give a shit. I want to have a fluid camera transition and movement system in first person like AVP 2010 did. That's all I want. I want to be able to play in first person to make it so much easier. So overall, it's not that bad. Put it that way. Whether or not it's actually 50 bucks, probably not. For most people, it's probably not 50 bucks, but I personally don't feel like I wasted $50. I was reading all the reviews, I was reading everything on it, and I'm like, oh my god, I started to feel guilty and getting buyer's remorse. This isn't me talking from, you know, like, I'm so delusional, I spent $50 and I hated the game and I'm trying to justify my purchase. I'm not. I'm actually just saying I legitimately don't feel like I wasted 50 bucks, and I actually enjoyed the experience I had through the game. It was a fun ride, and that's all that really matters to me. So for those of you guys that are just sitting there, like, completely bashing the game, Sure, I'm not denying its technical faults. I'm not denying the issues the game has, because there is plenty of issues. It's plagued. The AI is horrible. Things are just not good with the game, and I can understand how there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. However, I still enjoyed the game. I still had a good time with it, and I can't justify a purchase for you. I can't say that you should buy this. This really goes on you, whether or not you think it's going to be a good purchase for yourself. For me, I personally enjoyed it. I don't feel like I wasted 50 bucks. That counts for me for something. So that's pretty much all I have to say on the matter, because Aliens Colonial Marines is not that bad. That's pretty much all I can really say. It's not a horrible game. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It's good to me. Obviously, it can be improved, and hopefully with future patches and DLC and content, who knows what can be fixed and how it can be improved. Maybe even a texture package, something like a 2 gig file or 5 gig file, anything that the company can put out to make the graphics and everything look more nice and lush and great. I don't know how else I can describe that. Just fantastic in general. So that pretty much wraps up my overall impressions. This has been PepperBelly, and I'll see you in future videos.